Good morning. Welcome Commissioners Court, November 3rd, regular session. We have a full court present. Carrie certified meeting was properly posted. Please rise for prayer and pledges. You're in, Jerry.
Our Father, we come to you this morning, thanking you for your presence in this courtroom. Father, may we be in tune with your plans and your guidance that we may make it through this court. Father, I lift these commissioners and the judge up to you. I pray a special blessing on them that they may continue to lead us and guide us as we want to be guilty of performing your will. Father, we want to take a moment to read Matthew chapter 6 and verse 19, where Jesus says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, where thieves break through and steal." Father, we always spend too much time on unimportant things. Father, help us to focus our lives that we may focus on the things in heaven that will last forever. Father, we ask, Lord, that you lead us and guide us through this court. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. One nation. Individual with liberty and justice.
Honor the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the
Sections 1, 2, 1, and indivisible.
Any citizens input? We got any? All right. Consent agenda contains 19 items.
Second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 20, discuss and take action to apply for office of the governor bullet resistant components for law enforcement vehicles fiscal year 2026 grant.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Asking for the court's permission to put in for this grant. There's no cash match or anything to it, but where one. Been for approval to submit the paperwork.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
21, discuss and take action on price increase $1,009 for Sam's government fleet sales quote for 2 chassis needed for ambulance remounts.
Morning, Rachel.
Morning.
Chief Word here, so I'm gonna call him out for everybody, our new assistant chief. You know, but for our item, our price went up on the 2 chassis. All of them was $9.
it'll probably go fast.
Increase that so we can get our chassis ordered for our 2 remount.
Where's the money come from?
EMS contingency.
Have we already put in for the remounts?
So, yeah, so I haven't put in the PO because I have to put in the chassis first. The chassis will probably come here. We'll receive them well before the remounts. The lead time is about 18 months for a remount.
All right. All right. Like a motion to approve. I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand.
Want to introduce your new man to the court? Everybody out here? Come on up here. You can tell them how bad my wounds are. You seen them the other day.
Yeah, you definitely should have gone to the doctor, but. Need my station.
Hey, look at this.
Morning. Just me, some of you guys have. But, I came from Montgomery County. I spent some time, a little over 7 years there. Also kind of Belleville and Sealy area, and did some work in the nutrition down there for the clinical side of things. It's starting my 4th week here, so definitely drinking from a fire hose, but sweet, right would make around and be you guys. So Rachel inevitably leaves me to my own devices. Please expect some phone calls.
Right. Welcome aboard. Good luck. Glad to have you aboard.
Yes.
Justin Worthy.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Have a good day.
22, discuss and take action on the cooperative of purchase member addendum with West Bank. Martina?
Somebody.
As we all know, all of our disability cards are through CPD.
The Treasurer's Department, we house all of them. I've ordered all of the new parts for all new items. I did not receive them in the turnaround time that I usually do. So I called Citibank and they said that our contract was no longer able to accept applications. Upon doing some more investigating, I found out that under the Texas Smart Buy membership contracts, Citibank, their contract through Texas Smart Buy ended on 8/31. So on 9/1, it was granted for US Bank. So all of our fleet cards are through US Bank right now. Bringing this forward today, so to see if we can get approval to start the contract for the US Bank to start doing our new procurement cards. And then if that is granted and we get the contract going, then of course, across the board, we will have we're replacing everyone's Citibank with US Bank.
Okay. Mine expires in December.
Okay, and all of the, everyone that has a current card with, Citibank, they're still sending those, so there's no issue with keeping them going, it's just the new ones. So if, when yours comes to me, I will let you know.
All right, thank you. Make a motion to approve agenda item 22 as presented.
Cheryl, wrinkled your head over there. What you got?
Just Texas Smart Buy normally releases, solicitations and Citibank was not, the winner. Yes, and so the US Bank is. And, I was concerned about keeping all the Citibank cards or had questions about keeping the Citibank cards when they're no longer under contract. And, I was wondering how the rollout was gonna work in replacing all of the ones. Because Citibank won't issue new ones, but they'll honor the old ones. But are we really purchasing compliant by using those Citibank credit cards?
We're not gonna shut down.
No, no.
Like, if those ones come in, we have to keep using the other ones. Once we get this contract signed and in place, we're ordering all new cards for every active employee that has one. So if it takes 2 weeks, they'll be in and then we'll start replacing or sending, bring me your old one, here's your new one.
Amy, will we still have the same downloads of the cards and access to all that?
Yes, ma'am.
But it'll be through US Bank?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Moved in second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion
Thank you.
carries. Thank you. 23, discuss and take action on the Adobe license management from IT department to purchasing with the funding of annual costs from project contingency funds and not to individual departments.
Morning. So, Dan and, Miss Ellen had come to me and had asked if I would take over, or they had asked if I would take over the Adobe part and keeping up with all the licensing stuff through Adobe. And I've been working with Adobe trying to get a county business account versus individual and keeping up with individuals to get a better price as far as business goes. And I guys to approve that moving, but my question is, instead of individual departments paying for it, could it be a county requirement to pay instead of individual departments?
I don't think it simplifies everything.
Make it very simple. If they have tiers that fit us, if we only have 20 people doing it and we have to pay for 50, then
I get that, and that's what I'm trying to figure out and work out. I finally met with a guy last week that was supposed to call me back, and I guess the next day hadn't got here yet. So I will call them back today to verify that.
This isn't moving, it's just for her to go and figure it
I
out.
like the idea of it. Absolutely do. Absolutely.
And it seems like we're moving to Teams on Zoom is not something we do a lot, moving to Teams. I know this ain't on the deal, but would this be a good Teams deal? Cause I mean, we join the Teams meeting online, but there's an app for it with.
We're working toward Teams.
Huh?
We're working towards Teams.
Okay,
That would be a Microsoft.
Yeah. Some of us have already integrated over to Teams.
And so-
It's a slow roll.
oh, that's part of the upgrade?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm on the slow end of that then.
Yep.
Me too.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My recommendation would be to charge it to our IT budget so that we can keep up with all the related costs. And then if money is needed to cover it there, to bring a budget amendment back toward the end of the year.
That would only be if,
We award it.
if it goes to a county-wide deal, right, though? I mean,
Right.
right now it's by department.
Right, and what Cheryl is recommending that it be charged to a central budget and rather than to each department. And
But
I,
it's not beneficial to go to a county-wide,
Then we won't.
yeah, then it would stay departmental, I would assume, until we find something different.
if y'all approve what Cheryl is asking for, it would be charged to the IT budget in a special line.
She still gotta come back to court when she gets pricing and all that.
Absolutely.
And,
Okay,
yeah,
all right. That's,
yeah, we're not that far yet, but yeah.
yeah, okay.
That'll be my motion.
That's your motion? Second.
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 24, discuss and take action on the novation agreement between Vulcan Material Company, American Material Group, and Walker County.
So when American Group and or Vulcan gave American Group part of their I guess contract, I went to legal at Gracie and said, isn't it the best way to go? And she said yes. So I worked with her to get the novation agreement, and what y'all see in front of you is the Vulcan and American Group have agreed to this novation agreement, and now I'm bringing it to you guys for y'all's approval.
Works for me. We've been using them. It's like two different people out there, but it's working. So I make the motion to approve agenda item 20.
Just be reminded that you'll need to do opens to the American Group, you guys that have opens to Vulcan. For Mr. We'll need to do an open for American Group. Just-
All right, thank you.
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 25, discuss and take action on the purchase and payment of a 2026 Brazos 40-foot pit boss belly dump trailer from Brazos Trailer Manufacturing, amount of $39,050. From Bob Ward.
So, trying to put together another truck and trailer. We bought one back in February. I'm trying to buy another one. They went up quite a bit. But they're still cheaper than anybody else. So that's gonna be my motion.
Second.
From your money. Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 26, discuss and take action on purchase and payment of 2012 Mack truck from Rod and Tubing Services LLC in the amount of $32,000 for road and brick.
Won't you have a truck with it?
Yeah, that's the bad thing about it. So this is I also had bought a truck from this company. They're actually going on the trucking end of it. I had another truck that was in good shape and I bought it from them. So
Second.
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion
you got
carries.
a question, Ms. Cheryl?
No, I was just gonna say, I handed out the bill
Oh,
of sale.
yes.
I was gonna get an invoice, but I hadn't received the invoice yet, so y'all get a copy of the bill of sale that I had.
And you can't have an invoice till we approve it, right?
Well, that's true too.
Not supposed to.
Sometimes.
Yeah. 27, discuss and take action on issuing a burn ban.
Get the number. I was gonna call Butch this morning. You on Zoom, Butch?
Yes.
Just like,
574 3.
Or maybe
Yeah.
something like that. Top. 530
Let's
was
see.
the average.
I think
Average was 532. Max is 574. The minimum's 460.
Well, I think we're there.
Yeah, I did look, so, I mean, this morning I looked on the Forest Service website and everybody took it off. It was Montgomery, Walker, Midas and Leon. Everybody to the east and west of us is still on. No. We got 10 days without no
Yeah,
water.
you're extremely dry.
Yeah.
I'm dry where I'm at.
So you can always, we get some rain, well, like we did last time, Judd can always take it off, but
We're just trying to get somebody some relief from that storm
Yeah.
damage.
yeah, I think, I'm gonna leave that in a week, so,
We still got, looking in the yards, I think there's still some stuff there that needs to be burnt and cleaned up, so I'm not for this. Everything's greening up on my end. So,
Yeah, y'all normally a little greener than we are.
Yeah.
But that don't stop the fact that we're dry on my side.
I'll make a motion.
You can
we-
pick a date if y'all don't want it today.
I hadn't
let
talked
it
to the fire
go.
departments, but I mean,
Next
they're
Monday
running
or,
cold, so.
and give them one more weekend.
How much time you need to
I'd
burn?
like to at least give them a weekend, make it effective next Monday.
You good with that?
Yeah, I guess so. Bad as I don't want to.
Put a date on it then. What's next week?
That's a 10th.
Noon,
I'm sorry, 8 o'clock in the morning. That don't matter to me.
Yeah.
Monday the 10th at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Second.
Burn back.
No, we've never done this before. Y'all are always dry and we're always green. I'd like to entertain the fact that been going by precinct. Well, that's been frowned upon before, but I know it can be done.
That's gonna be very confusing.
And there's some people don't even know the precinct they live in.
Yeah.
Any other discussion before I take the motion? I got a motion
No second.
and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
So it's gonna be next Monday at 8 o'clock.
Next Monday at 8 a.m.
Got you covered.
Thank you, Butch.
28, discuss and take action on the authorization to issue requests for proposals for administrative service and requests for qualifications for engineering services for 2024 disaster community development block grant discovery, disaster recovery programs administered by Texas General Land Office. That'll be my motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anybody want to talk, a discussion? Luke, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me this morning. This is an opportunity through the General Land Office. They have a pot of about $97 million for this disaster recovery. These were from the storms in 2024, the mainline storms that came through in May, and then Hurricane Harold. You guys are eligible for both activities. There is an opportunity starting at $500,000 up to $5 million with a 5% match. Eligible activities include generators, street improvements, drainage, wastewater, water, things of that nature. The regular CDBG type opportunities are available. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for y'all to move forward with, seeing that you guys have ranked very high on our list for this opportunity. You can submit 2 applications for services under this opportunity. However, we are recommending only 1 because they're going to go ahead and score all the first applications that are submitted and then come back around for the second one. And this is going to be a very competitive grant opportunity, so we'd like to move forward if the court is ready to do so.
Luke, I got some questions.
Yes, sir.
So in previous grants,
Yes,
the
sir.
one we've actually got going on right now that we hadn't even started. There is, because all this is run through, we have to do loaded moderate income.
Yes, sir, that is
There-
correct.
There was a map put out that showed the areas, and I can't find it. I went back through, tried to find all our emails and stuff that showed the areas where we could implement these grants.
Sure.
Can we find that map?
Yes, sir. And
Look on your side?
and we can look for that map. Yes, sir. We can assist on that end. And also GrantWorks does offer services where we do door-to-door surveys and we
Yeah.
can assist in finding those low to moderate income areas.
Well, so the grant that we're doing right now, they took my survey from the time before.
Okay.
So we didn't have to re-implement it after I sent out all these notices and everything. But nevertheless, I don't know about Ronnie, but I'm running out of places to do this because of the restrictions.
Sure.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder for us to find areas to use it in.
Yeah, and so we're trying to concentrate on that. So if you can find that map, kind of, I mean, we've got an idea, but some of it they throwed out that they took back this time and didn't even do a survey on, which didn't make any sense to me.
Sure thing.
But if we're gonna go out for this, we got to find a place to put it.
Understood.
And with them restrictions, it's hard to get tighter. I understood. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I got some areas I think would qualify, but regardless, y'all still got to come out and do the surveys, even if you find them out, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, surveys have to be done. Okay,
Being a
Sounds
helpful
good.
guy, if y'all can't find a spot.
don't worry.
Bill could have y'all's back.
I'm gonna speak up over here. I got some spots.
Good.
Okay,
Did you get a second?
I did. Yep, I got a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion
Y'all keep
carries.
me in mind down.
Yeah.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luke.
No, I will.
29, discuss and take action on Constable Precinct 3 memorandum of agreement 287 task force model grant with no funding.
What you doing, Constable? I see you come in.
We were here for any questions you had.
Okay, so tell me what you doing? What is all this? I mean, I read it, but don't mean nothing.
Yeah, so these kind of, the 287G program is a force multiplier essentially for Homeland Security. And so we have signed up to be a part of that program. With that comes a monetary deal, it's $100,000 incentive. The federal government provides us with $7,500 per agent or person that's with the departments that's actively trained and assist those guys when they need something. That 107,000 has been awarded to us, but because the government shutdown, it's still sitting in Washington. Like, because we became operational prior to October 1st, we're also essentially qualify for a reimbursement per hour of salary. So for every hour that I'm doing something where I'm assisting those guys, they pay for the salary for the county. And we fill out a sheet and I'll work with payroll administrators and HR who need to do that. So if I'm helping those guys for an hour and one day, that goes over to them, the federal government reimburses the county for my salary. And then his eventually whenever we get him on for, that hour. And that can go, if I work 10 hours in a day, I'm helping just those guys because all my other duties are done or come out on a weekend or whatever, which I do 100% of that.
So, I mean, you're working under their jurisdiction, I guess, their
So,
supervision, I guess is the right word.
yeah, so it's basically the same as any other task force. I'm a task force officer for Homeland. So, which just means I'm a state agent that's trained up and understands the process and can help them out on things.
So it's my understanding the 100,000 is for a vehicle. Y'all,
Yes, it can be for vehicle, it can be for equipment and, it's.
and then the $7,500 a piece would be for personal additional things.
Equipment, yeah.
Stuff that you another,
There's, the only salary is the hours that we're working.
Yeah.
And then that's reimbursed back to the county, then that's what it was. Go to the county.
But our precinct 3 job is first online.
Yeah.
And we're not required to have to go do anything at that time.
yeah, I just
You
can't.
gotta have something else to do, you go do it. So,
And are y'all working strictly with those people, that organization? Or are you doing this, is it on your own? If they have, we're talking about ICE, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so if ICE is in the area, you tag along with them, or is this going out and looking for illegal whatever
This
on your
is-
own?
In the course of our job, if we run across somebody that's not lawfully here, I'm trained and he'll eventually be trained to, we can arrest them, take them to a processing center as long as I says that they want them. Right, so if I make a traffic stop or say the guy doesn't have a driver's license, he's not lawfully in the country, I can arrest him on the federal side and then transport him to the holding facility.
What's your process right now? What do you do right now?
Same thing.
Where's the holding facility?
ICE holding facilities in Concord.
Kind of,
So they don't go through our jail at all.
I have talked to the jail out there, and if we're running an operation up here or ICE is up here, and they're like actively going after stuff, we can use the jail as a staging facility. They're not booked into the jail. They're just kind of put in essentially a holding cell for a period of time. And at the end of the day, when we're done, we grab them and take them to Conroe. They're not booked into our jail.
At the end of the day, the biggest thing is y'all's is just the paperwork, and if y'all haven't done, like we've done, it basically it's like a FEMA job. It's gonna be, you're gonna turn in your 8-hour day timesheet with your 2 hours, and then the audit procedure later, they're gonna call and say, hey, we want to see your timesheet for that week that you filed with the county. We're gonna make sure you were here and the hours work, and if you worked 3 hours and you charge 8 hours on a vehicle, they're gonna question that and stuff like that. So if you go, you just gotta be sure you get your paperwork right. And we can, if you want to stop and visit with Lucy or whatever, she'd be happy to. We have some stuff we do for FEMA that might just cross right over, so.
And DC guys are working on that actual process. I don't even have that. yet.
How's that gonna look with T-Cole? How's that gonna look with T-Cole, right? You have to send them a report every month of what population you pulled over that, and this, like that. Are y'all exempt now from that?
Yeah, so you're talking about the racial profile.
Yeah.
We're exempt from that because we don't typically, that's not one of our primary functions with law.
But when you start this, are you gonna have to do that?
It's typically not all traffic stops, so, you
No,
know,
I don't think so.
you'll be,
Not unless we kind of change our trajectory towards where that's all we're doing is strike out. But I mean, this could be an eviction. I mean, we're doing an eviction and something's not legal. I mean, any type of lawful encounter that we have with somebody, I will verify that they're lawful in our country.
But the racial profiling to me seems like it would be part of that. I mean, it is a stop.
Yeah, I mean,
That'd be a paper trail of it anyway. We got their records.
yeah, and if they, if check with Chico, we'll see if they want us to change that from exempt to non-exempt. But, you know, anytime we stop somebody, there's a record of this. So maybe we can go back and pull that information with no issue.
Okay. I think,
all right.
well, I think of one last hurdle I think we have to jump is, and I think it's just a procedural thing for here, is that Constable Hill signed the agreement and kind of put it in place. So he's not an authorized signatory of the county at that point. He can't obligate us and stuff like that. So we probably need to take some kind of action, either ratifying that signature, some kind of paper trail behind it. Because when you do get audited, they're going to say, who signed up for this? Officer Constable Hill did. Is he your legal signatory? If the answer is no, think
Law enforcement had to sign it, so.
yeah. So we just, I think, I don't know the wording on that, if we can do that today or not, but let me look.
Great.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think certainly it would be appropriate for court action to acknowledge that they're on board. The paperwork side of it, of course, is something that always is my brain. I've been told that the money will flow through the county treasurer's office, both the money coming in and the money going out. Certainly, as the constable mentioned, the timesheets need to reflect all time work because Amy's responsible for the Fair Labor Standard and the overtime and all those kind of rates. So I think the paperwork definitely needs to follow the normal channels. And then when they do request for grant money, those need to flow through the auditor's office as would any other grant.
Gracie, you got anything on the signature part?
So we were just discussing, like, if y'all feel more comfortable, we could draft maybe just like a memorandum of ratification. If y'all would like a piece of paper to sign that says the court
Okay.
reviewed this and does ratify the decision or the signature of, Constable Hill, we can draft something like that up for y'all.
Okay.
Include that in the motion.
Equipment money flows in, assuming that it's like any of the other ones, whenever they decide they want to buy whatever, it comes through court, right?
And purchasing and.
Yes, we were told by the constables, all the money, all the expenditures would flow through the normal process that other grant money or expenditures would follow. So we would do a budget amendment to record the grant revenue. Purchasing would handle all the purchase requisitions. The purchasing payment would come back through court. So there'd be a complete money trail of the grant.
All right, so my motion is going to be to approve agenda item 29 and authorize the county judge to sign a statement of ratification addressing the previously signed contract.
Yeah, we didn't have a whole lot of time. It was in the days that we had to get this in. May have overstepped the bounds a little bit, but it said law enforcement had to sign it. We're just trying to clear everything up now.
That work for you, Gracie, on the ratification?
I think that would work. Yeah.
Okay.
Legally, I think y'all voting on it today on the records and then just summing it up with a piece of paper. With your signatures, I think that would.
And we haven't accepted any money or had any expenditures. Nothing's happened yet. So I think we're good. And that's my motion.
Second,
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand.
good luck.
Motion
Good deal.
carries.
You're authorizing the county judge to sign the statement of ratification. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to be clear for the record, the entire court is voting on approving that ratification right now. We're just gonna have Judge
Correct.
Christian
Yeah.
sign it.
Yes, ma'am.
That's correct.
30, discuss and take action on Constable Precinct 3 Memorandum of Agreement 287G Task Force Model.
That the same thing?
Same.
Maybe
It's
I'm
just part of it, so make your same motion or something. Or a motion.
That have a contract?
the the model kind of spells out everything. So I think we just need the same motion. If we could, and just for number 30, we'll do the same thing. That's my motion. All
Second,
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand.
good luck.
Motion carries.
right, good luck.
Enjoy the paperwork.
31, discuss and take action on Mark Norris request for variances section 11.1 and A 2.2 of the Walker County subdivision regulations regarding minimum road frontage.
What's that, Mr. Mark? Yeah, come on up. You might as well come on up here.
You zoom out.
Zoom out.
Tried to figure it out last night. I almost called you. I need a little help.
You want more? Is that good?
So just to go back forward, or go over to Mr. Wilson. He owns a staff of land that comes back here. Have an original 190. It was a flat file operation. Track was divided out, so there's a private easement that runs along there. I think he owns this. Title. He's filling out the 24.6. This side of the. From the remainder. Of the south. He has 80 foot.
Yeah, that's what's in the.
So he wants to do a 40 foot. Basically split that fee title ownership. But half in with each of the two pieces, one going here, one passing through and serving the remainder. And that's what before court is, the variance on that. Minimum frontage requirement. In order, he's gonna apply for an exception for 10 acres and up, but that exception requires minimum frontage, and minimum frontage on this is 50 because it's the two flag tracks. So not quite there.
So it's 240-foot steps. But with an easement that covers the full 80 feet side to side. So
So I say that again.
so it's an 80-foot staff right now. You're gonna cut it in half and make two 40-footers from what I read.
Right, that way each property has its own land going out.
And so the easement that's written to 5.12 acre access easement, that's right away to right away, is that granted to both property owners, that easement? Who is that property?
That would be granted to the property south of here. The total right now is 170, give or take. 25, that leaves me 145. And so instead of having an easement to the 145 and the full 80 to the 25, put two 40s, one to the 45, one to the 45.
They're side by side, basically. They're side by side, right?
Yes, yes,
Which is an 80-foot easement.
yes.
Now does that just get you to High Oak, or does that go all the way out? High Oak's a private road, so that carries you to the highway.
To the highway.
Okay,
So how does everybody else have easements?
I guess to that road, from that road, the road's a private road, so.
Easements.
So
How do they access?
we're splitting their easement too?
Place? You can't really see it here, but there's 145 acres.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm talking about, the Chisholms.
They've owned that land, they own the land out to the.
Center of the road?
Original, line was. My 80 acres or 80 feet starts east of what they own. So-
There are some access easements, the ones that are shown here, these access easements that are called out are not the proposed ones. Those are already in place. What he's talking about is the underlying ownership, not eliminating any of the existing easements, but changing the underlying ownership so he has frontage, physical frontage out to Highway 30. These tracks may have been created either under previous policy or require frontage or so old that they're grandfathered.
Yeah. Well, it can't be that old because the Chisholms ain't lived out there that terribly long.
Yeah, but they bought that from somebody else. I mean, yeah, that, I can't remember who lived there before the Chisholm got there.
Chisholm,
Brazil.
Cause this is an old thing.
Yeah.
Over here in the back.
or Julia Cox.
That's right. I knew if you'd say it.
Okay.
See, I'm using your memory to help me. So,
But
Like-
they have an easement going across this 5.12 acres? No. Well, they're using the same road, right? That's an existing easement going to this tract. We want to take that easement, cut it in half.
I think what he's asking, sir. is
Maybe I don't
that These owners here have access to an easement that takes them out to the highway currently.
Well, they currently own their own land and those easements have been in place since the 70s.
yeah, so basically they got an easement to the road.
Yes, yes,
So their easement is the road also.
yes.
Everybody's got easements out.
Yeah.
Which has been there since, like I say, this thing was put in there and God knows back in what, in 70 or whatever, but how long you been out there, Mark? Long time.
Yes. Oh, two.
Pretty good while.
So we're splitting the staff up, the road, splitting it in half. Here, one. But we're leaving the existing easements on top of this land. There's no action before the court to eliminate any easements. We don't even have the authority to eliminate private easements. We're not doing anything to affect any existing overlaying private easements. It's not part of the application. The application is required to have a 50-foot frontage and 50-foot wide staff out to the road in order to qualify for the exemption. He only has enough to do 40-foot out to the road, and so he's asking for that 10-foot reduction in the minimum requirement.
Okay, but we still ain't going back to, if we do this. And Mr. Norris, whoever decides to put a gate up down there, how do these other people get access to their property? Do they actually have easements to this High Oaks that we know of?
Yeah, as far as I've been told that the easements all come to High.
I understand, but if we do this and at some point they put a gate up at Highway 30, then we have shut them people off if we truly don't know that they have easements.
Well, I don't want to step too deep into legal,
I understand, but
but what we're talking about is he's got underlying ownership now of the full 80 feet. He's talking about he could transfer that ownership to a third party today. He's wanting to transfer a portion, he wants to split it into two portions and transfer half ownership to one and half ownership to another. But all of that has to do with underlying title, not necessarily any change in
I get that, but if we do this, then in theory, they could put a gate up at Highway 30 and say. Not necessarily.
They can put a gate up now.
The reason we couldn't, I already own that 80 feet. Yes. So, yeah, could I go put up a gate across the road? No, because my 80 feet only hits the middle of the road. Yeah. Well, I know you wouldn't do this, Mr. Norris. No, I'm saying that what you don't see on here is the road meandering. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this 80 feet that I already own at one point at Highway 30 is right in the middle of the road. But it meanders going down there. So legally, you couldn't put a gate. Physically, you couldn't put a gate because I don't own that 80 feet doesn't go across the whole road. So somebody couldn't do that.
So that 80 foot basically runs kind of out of the road too, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, the 80 foot is measured straight, but it meanders. But
Yeah.
it's meandered that way since the 70s.
It's been that way since they built the subdivision. Yeah, I understand, because I've been in and out of there. But
Just a question though, the 24.68 acres you selling that, do you mind telling us if that's for a family member?
My plan right now is not to, but if I have to, which the older I get, the have to's coming a little bit quicker. It's not my goal to sell it. I want to keep it all.
Okay.
But I'm an old man in a young man's game, and I can see what's happening. And I don't really think I'll pay it someplace. So at some point I will have to sell that.
what kind of concerns you got, Andy?
Our, before you guys is strictly about the frontage variance. So
Right.
40 foot staffs versus the 50-foot staffs. He's limited in what he has, so he would have to acquire an additional 20 foot out to the road to be able to widen that staff, which is why he split the variance. So it's just about 410 and 2 lot split. Live with the 40 foot versus the and I don't know, there was some conversation about whether or not he would grant additional owners to have something. Really?
Yeah, that's my only concern is later down the road when Mr. Norris is not there, what's gonna happen? You know, I mean, do these people, I guess 2 or 3 tracks actually have easements out across there?
Cause you got another road that turns off High Oaks and go back there to car lines and all that.
Yeah, it goes back to the sawmill back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's
all
Cobra.
been there forever.
Yeah, I know.
They have and this 80 foot abuts their property. It doesn't go over their property or their easement.
Which thing, Ron?
I don't think he got any more land to work with.
Yeah.
I think it is what it is. And I understand the part about getting older too. I mean, it's somewhere down the road.
As I told you earlier, was another out track from here that was granted previously, not by this court, this administration. This track here is it's also got an easement that goes out to the road. This was divided off of easement. There was a variance issue to allow it to be divided off of just an easement. So this track right here, there's a small easement that runs all the way out.
Outside of the 80 foot?
No, it's within the 80 foot.
Yeah, the house that you used to live in, Mark. I mean, it's got its easement too that gets to High Oak or
Yeah.
gets you out to the highway.
Yes.
This track.
Yeah.
So it's gonna.
Andy, would this be something we're gonna have worked out today? And one thing that's gonna come up is allowing subdivision by easement to the
Family.
It can't be family.
Yeah, but it's not really family.
Family, I don't think it should be family. It's good for Bob and his
I'm
kids,
good
good for everybody. So.
I mean, obviously, you guys changed your frontage requirements on the exception, and it would change what variances he might need. But right now, in order for us to proceed forward with his ask, exception, you would have to have a variance granted to do it at the staff. Now, if
Holds so many people that 50 is it, you know, and we sent people back that couldn't make the 50 and told them that's what it takes. I think we did one for a family, small.
Yeah, we did one out on Dead Lake, didn't we, Andy? 40 foot out there.
you guys have granted some in the past, I won't get into the details of each situation.
Yeah.
my recall's not that good, but in the past, you have granted some margins to minimum frontage of the staffs and on regular lots. That's,
Well, each situation is gonna be, there's
Yeah, I mean, that's just,
not a one,
this is
one size can't fit all.
not a small lot.
bad as I wish it was, it would make sense.
What qualifies this a little different than plat is it's not a small lot subdivision. It would otherwise qualify for exemption in the code, except for it doesn't meet the.
I mean, that is a private road, I'm assuming, right?
Unless you want it,
But no, I ain't gonna be here long enough to want it, so it ain't gonna matter with me. But reality, if you just get to the private road should be access to the road, right?
It is.
So if basically you don't have to go all the way out, if you can just get to that private road. Is that right, Andy, or not?
Under our policy, frontage has to be along the publicly mitigated. So it doesn't count for frontage of the policy. It may indeed provide access.
Yeah.
It doesn't count for frontage under the policy.
But that's what I was talking about. If
His
you,
frontage under the policy is here along the.
Yeah.
Well, and you would go ahead, Bill.
if you're in the city limits of Huntsville, 'cause I checked on this after one that came out. If you're in the city limits of Huntsville, you can divide a piece of property up to 3 times by easement. When you come into the county, that goes away. And we tell them, if you're gonna cut it up, you have to take your property by dedication all the way to the public road. So it gets harder to subdivide when you leave the city into the county, which is weird. Usually it's the other way around. So and that's what I'm gonna ask you. This isn't, to me, this is a subdivision of convenience. This isn't a family breaking up a historical tract and allocating son and daughter and stuff like that. So it doesn't really work me the way the other ones did, where we were helping a family settle something that was it was gonna end up in court or something. We kind of said, all right, we're gonna change this, so you can have the front, your sister can have the back. If this isn't an emergency to do it today, I would like to see us talk about the subdivision by easement, because that would work here, right? I mean, the easement would be an 80-foot easement all the way to the out track on
Yeah.
the back. And
I can't speak to the emergency need. Everybody got to deal with.
is
It's an
emergency.
emergency.
How many more days you got left on Earth, Mark? Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
it's a while.
And it's something I mean, and I say it a lot. There is nothing, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, there's nothing driving this other than he wants to do it. So if we're gonna say 40 feet is fine, then we need to look at this today and say 40 feet is fine and go ahead and adopt it. Because there's nothing on here that says I have to do this or something bad's gonna happen. I would like to do 40 feet, which is a good ask. That's why he's here, because he would like to do it. But if we do it 2 weeks from now, when somebody else comes in and wants 40 feet or 38 feet or whatever, now we don't have anything to say why we did this other than we just thought it was okay.
No, I will, I mean, I've not heard him mention this, but he mentioned it. I believe he has, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a lien on this portion
Correct.
separate. So if something happens and the lien gets foreclosed, this is gonna split out at some point anyway. Just FYI, just a little extra fact on top of the pot.
And that's something that could happen, is what I was talking about a while ago. I see it coming. So Social Security ain't gonna pay for this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. 40 foot seemed like enough to me when I got roads that's only 30 foot. You know, but
I'm fine with that conversation, with having that conversation.
You know, so-
I'm absolutely fine with that.
I mean, it seems to be coming up more and more since we put it at 50 foot. So it might be something that we definitely need to look at. It does pop up a lot.
Put it at 40
Or-
come in at 30.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well, and there'll always be different circumstances
But-
where you can't, I mean, like I said, Ms. Norris can't go out and purchase more land to do.
no,
You know,
this is a unique situation, but and I really don't have a problem with what you're trying to do. I don't know where the rest of the court is, but we'll find out in a minute. You know, so
Well, my only concern is for the people that are still in there, and if it, obviously, it couldn't get split again because, well,
they, like I say, everybody in there's got easements out, and if anybody wants to put a gate up, they can do it today.
yeah, well, I'm not so
You
much
know,
worried about
I mean,
the gate,
so-
but even at that point, I mean, as long as everybody's got an easement out, then obviously that's fine. But we don't know that,
We don't know.
you know, and that's the part that kind of bothers me.
What do you mean you don't know everybody has an easement out?
Well, we assume they do, but I mean, I hadn't seen these tracts of land saying that, looking at their deeds, saying that they have an easement title,
Right.
you know, and out to the highway, you know, and that's where I was going a while ago, you know, everybody says they have an easement, but it hadn't been proved, you know,
Well, and sometimes whether or not they have an easement or not is finding a fact court somewhere, right?
Yeah.
We, like our office, typically, that's not part of our review is
Yeah.
underlying easement.
chasing down the old access.
I'll just tell the court, we have not done any type of review.
No, and I don't think that's something that's.
We don't need to review
involved.
So the adjoining tracks, and it could be one of these tracks shown as an adjoiner on here is non-compliant, and we'll discover it at some future date. We just look at the application and submit.
That's the only part that bothers me is if we do this, which, like I said, I don't have a big problem with, is everybody else got access, you know, and are we hurting them by doing it?
I mean, if you wanted to sell it today without doing what we're doing, is that possible at all, Mark, or not?
Say again, please.
If you were wanting to sell a piece of land off that today, without us taking any action, can you do that or not?
I could do it, but when the people I sold it to came to
Not in compliance with the rules.
Yeah.
He can sell everything along with that strip in compliance with the rules.
Yeah, I'd have to sell out everything.
And then the transfer ownership of that underlying, that same strip would then transfer ownership and you may be in the same situation with,
Yeah.
you know, them fighting about what easements are over it and not over it. It's always a possibility. Like the man walking in here trying to do it right the first time means a lot.
It does. It does. What kind of concerns you got, Andy?
Again, it's just, if you guys are comfortable with the narrowing of that strip by 10 foot each, that's it. I mean, the code, at one point, we had a little bit narrower, staff for smaller subdivisions. And our code is now, 125 for rural subdivisions for standard lots and 50 for flag lots now. He's got 2 flag lots, so it doesn't bother the number. It's just strictly a strict variance on shaving 10 foot off of each staff. That's,
I mean, there's 80 foot there that they all can drive on. Right? I mean, everybody can drive on the 80 foot, even though you split the.
Everybody can drive on the road today, but the 80-foot isn't completely on the road.
It goes out.
Up and down the
Yeah.
road.
not all of this is in that easement that's in that old plan.
Well, and I know all y'all contribute to maintaining the road. I mean, I can still remember it would have been
Yeah,
years ago, that
I've been
culvert
out there.
blowed out, yeah. The big culvert up in the
Yeah.
front, so.
Been a long time, but I've been
Yeah.
out there doing a little stuff, Mark off and on, but
From a
not with the county now.
Yeah. I knew
Stress
it,
this
I don't know
out.
about nobody else.
was a point at which our flag staffs on tracks this size was 80 foot. And I think I wasn't here for the logic behind it, but what I understood the logic is when you have a large undeveloped tract, having a minimum of 80 foot staff out to the road allowed for somebody to construct a county road at some point. Obviously, if these drop down to 50, somebody wanted to develop this property, they'd have to go back and renegotiate and do that. But that's not what he's trying to do right now.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve. Let's just see where it goes.
With the 40-foot track.
Yes.
Second.
Yeah.
You wanna say something?
No, I'm good.
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Ms. North.
32, discuss and take action on Waxhaw Premier Properties Lori Dickey request for variance to section 5.19 of the Walker County subdivision regulation regarding road center line for Royal Pine subdivision. Elevation.
Mr. Dickey's here today with us. Stephanie, I think, File Associates.
That's right. We were there last night while I went to sleep.
Yes.
Stephanie, can you speak?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Just want to make sure you were connected. So we have 3 variances in the Commissioner's Court today.
Right. Put the concrete.
You have comments back from Wallace.
That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Related to all three variants. Except the first one. This is a variance on road center line elevation. Mr. Dickey, you wanna do some explanation on it? Or?
Yeah, I don't really know how to explain it, but there's sections of the road.
Well, if you'll come up here and state your name for French. That way we can all hear you on the mic.
Lauren Vicky.
Yes, gotcha.
There's 4.2 miles of road there. There's some sections that are less than 3.3 inches. Anything that was less than what was flat was already replaced. So we're just looking to, the engineer certified and feels that it's okay.
For clarification, he's talking about his
engineer, right, yeah.
Dickie, have you seen what Blau knows? Okay, and you got a copy of it? Yeah, this one.
Stephanie, you wanna speak to the board about?
Yes, sir. So with regard to the request to have a 1.5 inch elevation difference between the center line, the crown and edge of pavement, we offer no objection to the request in general. We do have some contingencies. The 1.5 inch differential is about, I think, 1.25% cross slope. And so we'd want the absolute minimum to be 1% cross slope in any area. We'd also ask that the asphalt be free of any bird bass. And also there be no negative impact to the roadway based on the reduced cross slope from the requirement. But in general, our current regulations allow an asphalt cross slope no less than 1%. That's not the application, that's not the regulation they are operated under, but our current regulations do allow an absolute minimum of 1% cross slope on an asphalt roadway.
This development was put in under several versions back under the. I'm assuming that this 1.5 inches is in the good. It's crowned the right way, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no ponding or pooling of any water.
And here, it says, from your engineer, Lauren says he's providing a 1/4 to an inch and 1.4 cross sections on the main street. Side streets is 1/4. Have you rode these roads and looked at them since?
This was on court, but I saw it Friday. It was down from on inspection.
Brandon, is this the one that, let me back way up, I might not be able to get past all this, that put down the concrete crushed material? This is not the same place or not?
Yeah, this is the one on 190 that had crushed concrete.
I did an engineer stamp off on that material or not? Being free of debris?
Their engineer did. Stephanie, I know we found some metal in that.
Not like the other one?
No.
Correct. We did find debris in the road base, but their engineer did certify that it met the specifications, the material specifications.
I don't.
And I'll also add that that certification is still in review. So we haven't completed. We're at the point right now where they need these variances in order to get the plans reapproved, and then we can review their certification package for completion.
Yeah.
So everything is still in review at this point, and we have not gone back out to walk the site since the last pre-pave.
Well, and you've got, this engineer saying that nothing should be less than 1.25. And you've got Blau, Stephanie and them saying that 1% is enough. Then
I think
should leave under, I guess, inspection, you ought to be able to move forward with this part of it. I don't know about the rest of it, but this one.
Yeah, they've already passed the depth and all that. I don't
Stephanie, the no objection is to a 1.5 inch elevation difference with an
Yes, sir.
absolute minimum of 1%, right?
Correct, yes. No location should be less than 1% cross slope.
And you've got this engineer saying that nothing in there is less than 1.25 on the side streets, and 14% on the main. So
That's just what.
well, yeah, I mean, it's still got, like Stephanie said, it's still got to go through the inspection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I'll move to approve the variance as long as they. That ain't part of the motion, but it's gotta, when they go out there and look at it, it meets what we're talking about here. 1.5 to 1 as the minimum of the crown.
You want to reference the file letter?
Reference file letter dated October 24th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Raise your hand. Motion carries. 33, discuss and take action on Waxaw Premier Properties, request for variance to section 6.3 of Walker County subdivision regulations.
this is a variance application for,
Drainage.
use depth. Ditches and all. What their needs are and why.
Yeah, taking us a long time to get that place stabilized because of all the rain that we've had. And, for us to go back there and make the ditches deeper, it's gonna require us to have to restabilize that. And with all the rain that we're getting and the sandy soils, it blows out. So we're just looking to have some shallow areas.
It's been out there a couple of years now, right?
Mhm.
Basically, subdivision hasn't, how's it held up with your rains?
Oh,
What you,
It's held up now because it's stabilized. You know, we got the grass there and it's holding it all in.
Well, this has been a concern since we looked at it from the get-go.
When they were building it, we were concerned about it.
And just because we had this conversation, you know, and y'all accepted the liability as far as moving forward. Then with the paving. And I hadn't looked at it. And I don't, if Brandon hadn't looked at it, and, you know, I don't know how far I'm willing to go on this, honestly.
There's 8.4 miles of ditches in there, so
Sorry.
there's 8.4 miles of ditches in there.
Yeah.
It's been tough to keep our arms around it.
Yeah.
But if we allow you to do it, we gotta allow everybody to do it.
It's only in a few spots.
And that's what, you know, the recommendation was, require the applicant to provide an exhibit areas to which the variance applies. We can't just give you a blanket variance and say, yeah, we're fine, just do the whole thing like that. I'm 100%.
We can certainly, you
No,
know,
if we're looking at this and it's on the plans and we go out there and look at it, what you're wanting is on top of a hill where there's, you know, your engineer says, we don't need an 18-inch ditch. This is right on the peak of a hill. I'm with you 100% on something like that, but we get over there where you need 2 36-inch culverts to put a driveway in, and we're looking at a 12-inch ditch. That's not gonna work.
Sure.
So we gotta have somebody saying on a map saying, this is the point, this is the point, this is. We even consider this variance.
Sure. Well, our engineer's on, so you know, has to.
Yeah. Who's your engineer?
Ryan Davis.
But we need
We need it
them
on
spots. We need them spots so that Blau can come back and look at them and evaluate them as well.
Ryan, did you hear that conversation?
Yes, sir, I did.
You, something to work with?
Yes, sir, I can put something together for that.
What'd you say?
You can put something together,
yeah, so we're gonna want some
pass and come back.
problems in total length.
I recommend if you're visibility, same application.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the motion. Deny with the ability to return to court.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 34, discuss and take action on Waxaw Premier Properties Lori Dickey request for variance to section 5.7, 6.8 of Walker County subdivision.
The front.
Front slope.
this is the front slope. We've already given them variance once on this from 8 to 6, right? No. And now we want to go to 4.
Right, as a utility, that's a conflicting utility installation.
Yeah, we talked about this from the get-go, when they had the polls. And like I said, this has been going on since the get-go. I'm not gonna put words in Brandon's mouth, but if you want us to even consider it, we need the same thing as what we do on the slopes, on the ditches. I know that one telephone pole, I don't know what the hell you gonna do.
No, we actually moved that one.
Have you? But we're still looking at a 41 front slope.
I'm not sure in that area. I think it was okay.
But, and I'm not picking on you, but that's the point. You're not sure. I don't know where it's at. Brian, same thing. We need something to look at if you want this to, us to put a good consideration on this.
Yes, sir.
So my motion on this one's gonna be to deny with ability to return to court.
I'll second that too.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carried. You wanna say something?
Thank you, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Mr. Dickens.
35, discuss and take action on Environmental Systems Research Institute. DIR contract number DIR CPO 4699.
So this is our mapping software. They sent this out to us. They wanted a wet signature on this. They wanted an actual signature, it's not one of those click, I agree, kind of software things. They want a signature. So we consulted with district attorney's office. They said because of the fact they're wanting an actual signature and that needs to come up to court.
I couldn't figure out what I read.
This is our same mapping software we've been using for 5 years.
I've always wondered what Esri stood for. I've been doing it for 25 years. I never.
How you know?
Thought it was invented by Bob Esri or something like that.
Move to approve with the judge signing this document.
I would. Chris, you guys have a chance to read it.
Yeah, we,
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I got a motion and a second, all in favor. Bill.
Is there a dollar amount on that?
There's a dollar amount on our contract.
Motion approved.
The amount we pay per. Have it with me. Not a dollar amount in the contract.
It comes out of your budget.
Out of our budget. Pay them every year for maintenance. This year, I think we may have done this once in the past.
Right.
This year they.
Might they stand up anyway.
It may be because they're transitioning their
Yeah.
platform. They're moving everything to the platform sometime during this year. So they want to tighten up all their paperwork.
All right, we'll do a 5-minute break, then go into subdivision reg. Yep. No, wait. All right, we're back at 10:17. That's a little longer than 5 minutes, but we'll forgive everyone. We're going to subdivision regulation. Where you want to start?
Start with the family stuff we talked about last time. Right?
What section is that? Andy?
That's kind of why we're here.
So yeah, so the exceptions are all in appendix A. It's on page 135 or 134, 135.
We don't have that many.
We don't even got that many pages.
Well, sorry, 34.
We got 80 pages.
Got the line, 34, 35,
All right.
and 6 and 36.
Okay.
So the family, what we call the family grants is listed section A2. It is an exception that comes from 32 local government code. And A2.2.3 is the family grants. What we call the family grants. So it allows for conveyance of 4 or fewer tracts sold, conveyed, or given or otherwise transferred to persons related to the owner within the third degree of consanguinity or affinity. It is tied back to A2.1, property that's frontage on Post Street, whose boundaries not changed. And I'm sorry, it ties back to frontage requirement in section 11. You go back to section 11.
But that one also, Andy, ties back to local government code.
Yeah, it ties back to local government code. And then section 11 of our policy. Page.
Which gives us something standard.
On page 33, says all lots, including some exceptions, must have a minimum frontage drive in appendix B 2.1. And then when you go to B 2.1, that's where our minimum frontage requirements are. So it's 125 on a rural road, 80 on urban sections, urban subdivision, and then if you allow 50-foot for flag lot. So this section 11 ties all the exceptions with the
section
exception of the boundary.
On page back.
Right, so a minimum frontage requirement. What you need, Judge?
No, that's it right here. Right, the only part that gives me pause on this, and I haven't read a whole lot of it, is A 2.2.2. That we never ask these people this when they come ask for a family conveyance of tracts. This one is
Where it's talking about the agriculture.
yeah, this is gonna be for agriculture. All I've ever heard is
No, A 2.2.2 is a separate exception. So these are, A 2.2.1 is one exception, A 2.2.2 is another exception, A 2.2.
so it's not an and.
No. It's not an and. Or. Those are all separate exceptions. They're recorded. It's not and all that list. It's each thing on that list under A 2.2.
Okay.
So yeah, there is one for agricultural use and has requirements.
Okay, it don't have to meet one of them.
It has to be one of them. So I could go and split my land into 5-acre tracts and say we're gonna have 10 different honeybee farms on 5 acres apiece. Well, it's a little more complicated than that on the wildlife and timber production.
Yeah, but I think you got to have
It don't
8
need
or 10 acres.
10.
Yeah.
They're talking about going to 20.
Honeybees are exempt. They have their own law. Honeybees are like 4 acres. They got their own own law carved out for
Yeah, I
ag.
mean, you see people like in Grand Ranch got honeybees.
That's the primary.
Yeah. But it's,
Yeah, I know.
they got their own law. It's crazy.
There's a state.
Honeybee people.
And lobbyists are in the honey.
I guess.
Honeybees are pretty important in ag though.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They're
Yeah,
not
but
no-
they're being used to damn
So,
exemption.
right.
The main concern and I brought
When you start showing production.
main concern is this family stuff. How do we how do we change this policy to make the family where you can divide off of Eastern?
I don't know that you can,
Well-
Brandon, because every situation is gonna be.
We had that one guy come in here and say, oh, he ain't gonna sell. What's his name that's doing development down there? However long ago. Give me some names. He gonna give it to his kids. Next thing you know, he's selling it and developing it.
Not hassle. Not
No. Greg Wilman.
Wilma.
He's there right there and said, oh, no, I'm not selling. And
Yeah, they all say that exactly.
next thing we know, hey, we got neighborhoods.
He said that in court, but he also told me outside of court, I'm gonna sell the first 4 to recoup all of our money.
He said that in
should've said
court.
that. No,
Because
he talked about he doing it for his kids. 'Cause
yeah, but he
I was
did
like,
talk about his kids.
Well, how many kids you got if you need this many tracks?
At one point, he said something about selling part of it. Because I didn't talk to him outside this courtroom, so I mean, I don't remember how many lots he's talking about selling, but he talked about selling some, and the rest of it would be divided for the family.
So that his kids could sell it.
Yeah, and I mean, I had heartburn with the water wells on that. That one was, that was kind
So
of,
it's only, and how good we want to believe the person that comes in here and tells us that's what's.
I agree. Now, that one was but the thing with that one is it was a full-fledged subdivision. It wasn't I'm gonna split this up, give each one of my kids something. He did a subdivision.
He platted it, didn't he? But it was something new. We gave him the variance on the well study or something.
yeah, I don't know. I kept having
Like
heartburn with the
15
water,
tracks
and
or
this is why I remember him more than the rest of them, but.
I don't remember the conversation, what you're talking about, but I remember the other part.
Early, when I came here, this exception was on the books then. They did not have a frontage requirement, but they did have a interpretation at that point. It was strict. That only if it's transferred to a family member, if it ever went outside the family after that, they came to me, I would consider it non-compliant. That created its own basket of problems though, because tracts that would be initially divided in the family, then for one reason or another, a tract would be transferred outside the family. I had a lot of reasons why that occurred, including sometimes a divorce where non-family member ended up with the property. And then they would come back to me for permitting and I was tasked to consider those as non-compliant. And so some of those were kind of time bombs, which made a lot of people try to opt for a different exception at the time. They would seek out one of the other exceptions, especially if they had large acreage or something like that. I didn't have that requirement.
Don't remember that part.
Updated this,
But that doesn't make sense.
didn't continue that. We said as long as there's not an.
No, that's what you and I talked about. We gotta write this to where it doesn't have a time bomb when it comes back into your
I would not
office.
love to bring that part of it back because it was.
When I first come in,
It's a
they
pretty
all
hard conversation.
kept on me out there wanting it.
After the fact.
Yeah, I remember that.
Divided
Man,
the surrounding property, other people.
some form of
So
time.
getting somebody to plat who didn't have frontage, who also didn't control any of the surrounding property, turned into some bad situation.
All right, so what can we legally do to make any changes? Or work a little more with the families? Is there any?
Well, I mean, again, right now we have a strict frontage requirement on the exceptions that is in section 11. If you guys wanted to carve out historically, the boundary line adjustment, we've not required those to have minimum frontage because the idea is they're not creating a new tract. They're going from 2 to 2. Maybe they're moving the place that the boundary exists, but they're not creating a new tract. They're starting out with 2 grandfather tracts. They're moving a boundary between those 2 grandfather tracts. And so no new lot has been created. So on those, there's not a minimum frontage requirement. You could add something to A2.2.3 and you could copy it over into section 11 that excludes the family grant from having to have minimum frontage altogether. Then
I don't know. I
they would
mean,
be responsible or lower it. They would be responsible for providing their own easements upon sale. Again, under exceptions, we're not approving a plat. We're just saying that if they divide it this way, they're exempt from the platting requirements. And so if the court wanted to remove the frontage requirement on that particular exception, I'm not I'm not the lawyer, so I'm not giving legal advice, but that would be the administrative.
Well, you guys just gonna have to handle it case by case.
Well, and I don't disagree because, you know, at least I know it's a pain in the butt when they come up here, have to come up here 2 or 3 times, but at least it's getting it in front of us.
Yeah.
You know, to where we're looking at, just like the people, the last bunch that was here, where they were trying to split it 4 ways, you know, 5 ways. You know, if we had let it go through the first time, then you talk about a train wreck down the road. At least this way, it come down to, hey, we got to move sewer lines, we got to move houses, and it made them compromise, I guess. And you may not got what we think is what we want, but at least you got a better deal than what you would have if you just say, here, y'all do it. You know, I don't know,
And that's the whole reason we got variances.
yeah. I
We
mean,
didn't-
But Bill don't believe in variance.
But right, but then don't vote for none of them. We do away with variances then, but we gotta have something.
but I don't 100% disagree with Bill. I mean, but at least them coming and asking, it gets it in front of us.
Yeah.
And you have to look at it on a case.
But see, on the family side though, and I do think that you draw a line and it has to fit everybody. I mean, it has to, you can't say like the guy that came in today.
Yeah.
He had zero reason to cut that up other than he wanted to. That was it. And he had a lien on the property. That's a decision he made. Hey, I'm gonna put a lien on a piece of property. So there was nothing driving. It wasn't grandpa didn't die and leave this to here and over here and we're trying to fix this. Cause at the end of the day, in a family situation, they can go to court. The judge can chop it up. He brings it back to us and stop me when I'm wrong. We have to take it. Whatever the judge cuts up and brings to us, we have to accept it. We don't have to make that decision. We can say, that's our rules. If you can't cut it up, go through the legal process and let a judge cut it up for you. Y'all can't figure it out on your own. Go let a judge cut it up for you and bring it back and we'll do that. But like I say, what do we tell the next guy that wants 40 feet? It's a yes from now on. How can it not be?
Yeah, to your point about the action of a court, I don't know whether or not we could still enforce our rules on that person when they show up, but we have chosen not to.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the exceptions that's
Yeah.
built into our code.
Yeah, it gives us, we
I don't know.
did what we're
I
supposed
don't
to.
know that any court, since I've been here, has wanted to go fight with the district judge about their order.
No, I wouldn't either.
We do.
Personally,
They don't bother
We do it in budget.
I don't think it bothers us at all.
After I call them guys, they don't like me at all.
Though, when you say 50 feet is our rule, well, I can't make that happen. You're like, you know what? Then go.
But if this was truly, I mean, if we didn't do that, then it goes up through the channels and the district judges, any scenario would come down and say, hey, look, or at least look at our subdivision policy and say, this is not what the court puts in place. And have a conversation, not just, hey, I think this will work and we'll give them 15 foot.
You talking about them people
Well,
up
but
there?
that's what I'm getting at. And so it's the communication on both ends of it, you know. They shouldn't cram it down our throat and, you know, we ought to make it to where it is accessible for everybody to an extreme.
Remember last budget, right?
So
I ain't
from a strictly administrative standpoint, you guys wanted to alter the frontage requirements of that particular exception. If you'll look on page 36, under A3, you'll see the last line in the middle paragraph states exceptions under A3.3 require tracks along frontage, lot frontage requirements. A3.3 is that boundary line adjustment. This is not, this particular exception is not in the 232. This is an exception created by Walker County because they didn't want large landowners who were moving property lines or even small landowners that were non-platted tracts that were moving a property line to have to go through the platting process because again, the theory was same number of tracts after. What's the harm? No harm, no foul, especially with a lot of the ag tracts where some of them don't have frontage. But one owner of an ag tract wants to sell 50 acres of timber or grazing to the adjoining owner. So the court previous put that in, courts since then have continued it. They have that line built in. We could administratively, if the court wanted to go that route, we could build in a line like that for the family grants that read either that or lowered the frontage requirement for family grants or something like that. Now, I will say this, you know, the more tracks that access out across a single frontage it's, especially if the frontage is small, but this is hard, this is not really easy to consider other than by case by case. As I think the judge was talking about, if I have 4 family grant tracts that are accessing the road, the county road 200 feet apart, then that doesn't necessarily trip some of our problems. But if I have a very small frontage and then I divide backwards, now I have 4 tracts that are now accessing out of 4 driveways that are now 10 foot apart because there's no minimum frontage requirement. That may impose some problems for you guys on road maintenance, on parking along the road, on those kind of things. But those are almost, unless we write a significant amount of additional code to sort of categorize all those, right? To include additional rules about that, which is another route we could go. It just grows the code, right? So, we could do that. We could identify, as long as each one has this amount of separation between their private driveways, and we could add a bunch of stuff in there like that. It's gonna grow the code. More considerations. It's up to you guys. You always, generally, you have an option to either allow and understand that if something doesn't happen all the time, that the variance process will be the solution. The alternative solution is to grow the code, right? To either not regulate it anymore, which is always an option, right? Or grow the code so that it's got more categories of regulation so that people make better fits into those categories. Those are the kind of 3 ways to go if you're trying to get rid of a problem is allow the variance process to take care of those. Generally, that's more palatable when there's not 100 applications a year for the same thing. Or stop regulating it, that particular thing, because you don't feel like you're getting the bang for your buck out of your regulation on public health, safety, welfare. Or grow the code so that there's more niches in there to deal with the issues you're concerned about at a more micro level instead of a macro level.
But even if you put that in place, it's still gonna end up back here though, Andy.
The final Board of Appeal and variance will, unless something significant changes, will continue to be the Commissioner's Court. So I deal with this all the time. My job is to tell people what the rules are. And then if they don't like the rule, then they're here. There's no other place to go.
I have to say this from a city man over. It's a good thing for the city though.
Mhm.
I went before them on some variances. They're a whole lot easier to deal with than our court is. You know, I mean, it's when it comes to variances.
Yeah, but and so I'm not knocking that,
Yeah.
but I mean, do they look at it? I mean,
Yeah,
is
they look at it, but I mean, they will work with you too. I mean, I don't feel like we work with a lot of people out there, honestly. You know, but that's just my
but
personal
what I'm
feelings.
saying is, are they looking at the repercussions?
Yeah, you'd have to ask them.
That's probably just in the ETJ and they weren't worried about it.
Yeah, no, it was actually in the city. It's in the city limits, so they wouldn't be dealing with it with me.
Well, but I mean, like I said, I'm just asking a question. They may be more lenient, but is it causing more problems down the road?
You know, anything we do is gonna be problem related down the road, but when if we can't help family, what the hell can we do? I mean.
Well, and I'm not saying so much, the family part is not what bothers me, is what happens once the family sells.
Well, I mean, you can't be concerned about everything. The way I look at it, I mean, it's gonna sell. We all know that. All the families are gonna die off at some point and somebody else is gonna own the land. But if you can't help the family to start off with, then hell, I don't even know why we.
But that's what, I mean.
Just quit regulating it then.
I hadn't seen us turn down anybody. We've always compromised and come up with something that worked. You know?
When the people out on Little Road Loop.
Nope, we told them go back and redo it.
Figure something out.
Yeah. We have not.
But they had an existing easement that was in place from way back when.
That's just how you.
Well, this court don't acknowledge these easements very much.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said, we don't acknowledge much on easements too much in this court. I mean.
But I'm open to that conversation. That's why I got that in court. I was surprised that we had something more restrictive than the city had.
Yeah.
As far as like this guy here.
To be honest, we have like our road standard.
Yeah, now.
It's better now.
More than the
Not-
city. Yeah.
Yeah, but we just did that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they come along with us after that, but the, 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 ability to divide in today's world where our property's reaching 40, 50, 70, $90,000 an acre, to take a piece of property like that one there and cut it in two pieces and just have an 80-foot easement to the highway. That to me, that's reasonable. If I wanted to build a road, it'd be nice, but it's not realistic, you know? But I just didn't like the fact that it was strictly a monetary variance. Money would have fixed that. There was property on either side of that road that some sort of money, the guy probably would have said, you need 10 feet for 100 feet, that's $100,000. He has a financial decision. If he could get it, then he's compliant. If not, he comes to us and says, hey, I can't do it. And it's not because he doesn't.
But the difference there was he actually owned the 80 feet.
That's his 80 feet.
And so.
Yeah, his 80 feet. I would like to see an easement.
Can it be divided anymore? Shouldn't be. I mean.
No telling.
Well, I mean.
Well, what would put that person, so let's just use that for an example. Say you guys granted the variance on the 40 foot, then they go out, they divide the track and they each have 40 foot staffs. The staff, that frontage is the limiting factor on redivision. Obviously not acreage, because those were both pretty large acreage tracts. They can be divided again for acreage. Then they would have to come back again for a variance on what would now shrink from 40 to 20, say if they wanted to divide it again. Similarly, on the family grants, that's the control point on those. So if somebody starts out with a tract with 100 foot of frontage, divides it into 4 pieces, gets an exception, then one of those owners returns back, also wants to give 4 tracts to their 4 kids, then you could see things bloom and blossom from 4 tracts to 16 to.
Yeah, we got a bunch of basically private roads or
So,
whatever you want to call them.
Just so you guys could see that, if there was no hinge pin on frontage, ultimately, so I don't know, the city, obviously, I think that they have codified that in some way. I don't know that, but
I haven't seen
they allow 3 off of an easement, but they came back in to do those into 3 more off of an easement, they would likely say, oh,
flag them.
that's no good. You can't do it.
Yeah, you just.
And if the court wants to move that direction, maybe that's something they can do. We would have to consult with the district attorney's office, because this is a state exception, right? So our limitations are around the state exception are different than the ones the court created themselves.
I got you. Yeah.
So where are we going today? Nowhere?
Workshop.
This is y'all's car. I'm just.
Sound like we ain't going nowhere today.
It goes back to the same thing I said in court today. We got 3 right now. And I agree, the one out there on Little Road Loop, they were kind of squabbling. That was a court order deal, but Mr. Coas is in here. He wants to give a piece of property to his daughter to build. He's got his parents, him and his wife. He wants to do his daughter beside him. We can't do that. We don't have a vehicle to do that other than a variance.
Yeah.
That's correct.
But that's what gets it in front of you though.
It does, but then we got a man sitting right over here that don't like variances at all, and I'm not speaking for you. I'm just listening to what you say in court. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets it in front of you to where they have to work and they have to compromise, and we make it the best we can for everybody.
Yeah,
You know?
but the Coas property has 30 foot of access. 30 foot, 3 houses. And I don't know if he wants to give his older son a piece of property or something. But now we've got more problems because that's family. And now we're not nowhere near the 50, we're at 30. And now we're on an easement because that's what's going to be in front of those 3 houses.
But if you done away with this, you wouldn't know any of it.
An easement is more like a driveway to me. I mean, I don't know why we're so hung up on easements getting out to the road on land, but it's like a driveway.
I agree.
It's not a county road. It's just a requirement that we have.
But for Andy to issue them a building permit, we got to get it through court.
Yeah.
And that's costing them a lot of money. Even to get it on paper, to get it surveyed, to get it on court. I understand they'll have to, I mean, if they could probably do a meets and bounds or something, I don't know, but he don't have the frontage and we don't have a way for him to subdivide it off of an easement, a driveway.
That's all a driveway, because technically that's really all it is.
That's all it is. There's 3 houses on that driveway. There's 2 on there that want to put a 3rd one. but to
They
the
all
driveway
should
to
be.
the road, it's 30 foot wide.
Just to be clear, we don't. If an owner like, let's just say if an owner has 10 acres and they want to put 4 or 5 houses in that 10 acres for family. And they're not offering it for rent. We don't have any regulation that would allow them to pull all 4 or 5 permits and move forward because the lot's compliant. Specifically, we're talking about when the property divides into multiple tracts. The problem is that's usually necessary to be able to go out and get financing to build a
Right.
home to begin with,
Yep.
right?
Right.
And so, if you go away from just, my input to court is if you move away from a frontage requirement, the frontage requirement is what ties you to creating road that then can provide the health, safety and welfare for the drainage, the driveway, the access, safe access, making sure you can get emergency services to and from the property. So the more property that divides off of non-regulated infrastructure, the greater that burden grows. Again, back to your point, family grants, we're theoretically talking about 4 maximum tracks out of an existing track. All going to family members, and whether the court wants to treat that differently in some way than the other types of development that.
And without the access, you can't get financing in there.
Well, again, we're talking about frontage.
I understand.
All I've done is provide easement access to some of the, I'm not a banker, but understanding is the easement access is acceptable by some of the bankers.
Yes.
It is. As long as you got an easement to the land, you can finance on it.
I don't agree with Bill that if we make a rule, we have to stick to it and it's 100% in stone. We have to be able to give variances, but basically we're saying, we're gonna do a frontage deal here. You gotta have 50 foot per piece you want to drive out. But you're gonna have to come back in front of court and we're gonna give it to you. But we're making a rule. If we leave this in place where you gotta have 50 foot and they don't have that, then we're making a rule that we're automatically gonna break. Well, what's the point in having a rule?
Not automatically.
Well, some people might actually have it, but yeah.
I mean, there's cases that you'll have 50 foot, they just don't want to give it to you. You know? And that's why you bring them up here and yes, I assume it is a pain in the butt.
It's no different than a court case. You know the guy's guilty. It gets real when we get a jury in the box.
Yeah.
You gotta make it real world
A
to them.
simple example might be, right, that you have an owner that has frontage on a road here, right? And has ample frontage here, but wants to give the back to a family member. Like, instead of dividing the property this way along the road, because there's no frontage requirement, they choose to divide it this way and have an easement access, right? If that came before court, the court may say no, like you have plenty of room to do it, you're just not doing it. There's no extenuating circumstance here, that they may find a more unsympathetic court than the guy who's like what you're describing, who has 30 foot total access, but has a large tract of land that only has a 30 foot access. Wants to give 5 acres to his daughter so she can live near him to help him in his old age or whatever. But writing a code that addresses all of those factors.
You can't do it.
I'm not saying we
Yeah.
can't make a shot at it, right? But if we want to try to wrap all of those extenuating circumstances into an itemized code, and I'm not saying we can't move toward that, but it will grow the code. That's the point I was trying to make up front.
Also, you can't do it because every time you
Certainly make it more complicated.
think that you've got it all covered, there's gonna be somebody comes out of the blue with something.
We covered everything, and think it'd be about that thick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you still be missing stuff.
Say,
Well, we just have to be willing to look at each case individually and work with folks best you can.
plain to.
All I'm there. Yeah, I mean, well, most of us.
Well,
Is the public needs to get in that. I mean, that's, I all got considerable. Good on you, but those are the 3 that I've been able to think.
Can you peek at some other counties and look at what kind of language they have, like Williamson, not necessarily Montgomery, because they have kind of weird down yonder, but some other counties around us.
I can look, yeah. I mean, I've looked at a lot of policies over the years, but I'll go back and take a look at it. There's been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of development as well. So a lot of counties have changed policies. So I can go back and look and see what other, it's gonna range this gamut that we're talking about is my guess.
Use the same counties we do salary studies from.
We'll find.
We use them so much.
well, when you y'all built this thing. I mean, y'all used a certain set of counties that y'all thought
We did, we had 3 or 4 of them.
kind of.
Thought we had most of it covered, evidently.
Yeah, that's one thing. You can't build something that's gonna.
That's why I think, keep it simple. You tell them it's 50 feet to the road. And you stick to it, then they know if there's a hope. If they know, go there, look sad, be pitiful, they're gonna bend for you, they give you 40. If they know from jump, when you sit down with your survey, your engineer, your whoever, your developer, I want to do 40 feet. If you go to Walker County, tell me you want 40 feet, they're gonna tell you no. The whole conversation changes right there. It doesn't come here. They're like, well, you got to get to 50 feet or they're not going to talk to you. So, I mean, it's not up to us to, I mean, it's not a rule. If you know you're going to break it, it's a suggestion. And we shouldn't publish suggestions.
I mean, you aren't wrong about what you're saying. If you have an owner that approaches you and their 2 options are acquire additional land for the division
Mhm.
or attempt to get a variance to the standard.
Or don't do
Most-
anything,
Most folks are going to.
or don't do
attempt
nothing.
the
Is
variance first, even if they might
Mhm.
go after land later because
Yep.
it's the more palatable of the 2 options, right?
Number one variance thing is it cannot be for a financial purpose. It can't be, it cost me $20 more to do it. I don't want to do it. It has to be, it is physically impossible for me to make that happen without this variance.
Well, and I don't disagree with that part. I mean, you know, the money shouldn't play much into it. But,
That's your
you
decision.
know, when you fall into the family deal, you know, that is different to a certain extent. But you got to look down the road and see what kind of impact you're having on the next person. I don't care if we do or don't like it.
Families I lean more towards, and I could guess I could get back in there, more towards an easement on families. If you like those weird long ones that the guy like the here and here and here, and they're like, we just want an easement. We don't want a dedicated staff and another dedicated staff. If a family wanted to do an easement and say, okay, this is a family tract, we'll do access by easement to a public road on a family tract. That's something that you might be able to separate out, just because it is grandma and grandpa and Uncle Bob and whoever.
That's all I'm after.
I mean,
So basically you could vote for that variance, sir?
I could probably get there for that one.
Somewhere.
I could probably get there for that one. The scary part was.
Did you hear that, Gracie?
The scary part for that one, I should say, when the guy in the middle sells it.
Yeah.
So Steve, who's not from here. And Steve's like, hey,
And then you leave it up to Andy to catch all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's.
So if you guys chose to go that route, and this would, again, need to consult because we're dealing with a state law variance.
right,
Where we
we can get
where
there.
we can step in. It's the variance to the state law is the plating. But we still have subdivision regulations that sit in there as well, and the frontage requirement is based on that.
Yeah,
So if you wanted to allow it, say, if a lot was grandfathered, right? And so it was in place prior to 2000. And it was divided amongst family, meeting the 230.
Right.
Right? Yeah, right. And then we would allow up to 4 lots by, as long as the easement was a shared easement.
right,
Right? That would be only a one point of access out to the road.
right,
Not
right.
full.
right. One
We
shared
should-
easement.
If the courts want us to look into drafting something like that, we can, but I would tell you right now, I'm gonna want to talk to them.
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
Drafting that
100%.
because it's tied into that state variant, that state.
Well, it's still got to come to here though.
Yeah, no, no.
Wait, whatever you write in there has to come to here.
Oh, absolutely. We have to come back, go through the whole.
No, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about you revising this, Andy. I'm talking about in the end, it's still gonna come back to here.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
But Bill could vote for it if you had something in black and white. Let me help you out, Bill.
I'm working with you a little bit on it. A little bit and say, all right, I understand there's some things, but if you want to address it, then get it wrote and get it in here. So when the guy, like I say, when he goes to his designer, his subdivider, his surveyor, and he goes to page 35 and it says, okay, according to this, being that you're writing it up, you and your 2 kids, we can do an easement to the public road. So I'll do this for you, as opposed to,
Yes.
well, you want 40 feet and my history with the court is they'll give you 40 feet. So let's go.
Put
it
that in
should
black
be-
and white and we're good to go.
It should be, it might,
Copy his first.
We don't want to, I mean, I think this is a workshop. We don't want a bunch of staff time into drafting. Whenever there's no desire of the court to even consider moving in that direction. So if the courts But
But I think the easement would have to be 50 feet. If our staff is 50 feet, then I think our shared easement would have to be 50 feet.
so we can look
Minimum.
at code of, if the code wants, we can look at for any addition to the code and amendment to the code. For consideration, obviously have a public hearing in a future approval. Then coordinate with the district attorney's office on the legalities of all that.
Yeah.
And then bring that back before court for additional discussion about things like, well, do we want to widths? Do we want to lock it down to something? We could do a draft of dartboard. I'll build the dartboard for you guys to throw darts at.
Yeah.
I didn't build the dartboard for today because I didn't know what the will of the court was.
I'm good with that. I think in my mind, being that we have a minimum 50-foot staff for property, a flag lot going to the road, that the easement should be 50 feet. Because then if you're, for access, it's 50-foot minimum. We have a family variance for 50 feet. It could be easement. If you're not family, it's your property goes to the road. That makes it pretty simple for me. I would.
And the first one we bring in is gonna need a variance to that. 50 foot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell them.
I thought he's 30 foot.
You just tell
I
them.
will tell you, any rule you write.
Somebody's gonna have to have a
That's why you
variance.
might as well leave it alone.
Someone. in
Look,
front
Oh,
of
we
you.
gotta, we gotta put something in there to help the families.
Yeah, I'll vote no on every one. We don't change it. It's just.
Yeah, I'd put something.
Why you only need three?
Well, but to go back to what Brandon said, what are we not doing? I mean, we're making them come here, we're making them compromise. We're trying to get them as close as what we've already got in place as we can. It's not, hey, you get a free pass if you come to court, pay your fee and it's a chance, and we've sent some of them back half a dozen times, trying to make it get right.
Just the one we did today shrunk your staff to 40 feet. You cannot tell somebody else no after you just told this guy yes today.
You was not raised by my mother.
And
Well,
I wouldn't. If somebody told me no, I would go play the tape. My next meeting back in court,
Every circumstance.
I would play that video.
is Different.
And there you
Every
go.
circumstance is
No.
different.
I'm working with you on
this.
this. Don't get grumpy. I mean, I'm working with
Never
you.
mind, never mind. You're right. 40 foot.
The difference is.
Never mind.
this one is,
I'm gonna shut up. He's working with me, right?
He actually had the 80.
He's working with me.
He owned the 80 foot,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you own the 80 feet, but you're trying to cut it in half, not own half of it. So that's,
But a lot of these easements, who knows who owns it,
yeah, and I'm with you on that. I had no idea what those other people might have had, implied easements.
Yeah.
They might have had.
I don't know. That's the only thing that bothers me about
Yeah.
doing what we've done today.
They don't want those people now show up at the gate.
Yeah.
He's like, well, the court gave me this, so, it is what it is. You don't like it, sue me. And now we've thrown them people into a fight. So I like the idea of more of a conversation. We find out what 3 or 4 other counties are doing, then let's look and see if we can do an easement access for family divided property. And
If you get that word easement in the family, then that gives Bill something to work with us.
then we can talk about it. We do. Just got something to talk about.
If it's possible, if it's
Yeah.
legal.
I got something to talk about.
Yeah. I like his attitude over there today.
So,
I wear my horns for you, Bill.
I appreciate it.
I'm still on camera.
I think I can build something. Around.
I got it. I got
You guys can throw the darts at it and tear it up. And build it into whatever you finally want, but I think
Okay.
I can at least put together some draft for you guys, so that you guys have something to.
Looks good.
I got enough sense of where the court's headed.
Done a good job on the horse.
Y'all like, y'all can change it, or y'all just throw it all the way out, and that's okay. As long as the court knows, I'm gonna spend time on effort on it,
That's fine.
I work for you guys, so.
So
Yeah,
brings
get the
up-
word easement in there.
brings up another deal.
You
We had
let us
your
get in there.
engineer hired,
I'm working on,
have, give us an update.
working.
ETJ, this thing? We talk about ETJ? Where are we at on that? Have you heard anything back from the city?
Just that they're gonna work on that exhibit. I actually haven't checked my email this morning, but I sent an email about it on Friday.
They have very little incentive to want to change from where it's
Will you
at.
start looping up me and Danny back in on that? So we can push some buttons maybe? We've been out of it, but I want to get something done
Be nice.
in the year.
But what are you looking at to get done with that? What do you want to change?
We have no traction. We've been
Exactly.
talking to the city for a year about either standing by the contract that we have and updating us or redoing the whole thing.
The biggest problem is the accountability. I mean, it's the same way it's always been built. It's, they build it and we either accept it or we don't. That's the only leg we got to stand on.
We ain't got
You know?
anything.
And I mean,
So, so the alternative, you want really theoretically, you just want better communication or whatever. But I mean, that's what's in place right. Seems like it should be in place right now. But we definitely, in my opinion, I don't want to be the primary regulatory.
We're not trying that. We just want them to hold to the contract.
But if we're gonna take it, I would like it, our code.
But you can.
well, it needs
up
to
front.
be inspected to whatever is in place for the subdivision policy. And
Yeah, I mean, when,
that's where we're a little short.
well, the last one I have right now for me was Sterling Ridge. And we had a good meeting with them before this last section. And that's pretty much, that's what they went with concrete roads on this last section of Sterling Ridge. Cause we told them, hey, our standard is concrete. And you guys like, I think I'm gonna do concrete roads. He could have done asphalt because he was in the previous,
Yeah, he was
Policy.
grandfathered in.
but he said, we're gonna do concrete. And we've had a good
It's
relationship.
It's my understanding that, we have that existing agreement that essentially adopted the city of Huntsville subdivision regulations in the ETJ.
Mhm.
But the law, I believe, speaking definitely.
Right.
This, but the law, I believe, allows us to, in the ETJ area, adopt a code and then have, like we talked about last meeting, have amendments to that apply to the ETJ. For example, we could say City of Huntsville's code, but curb and gutter streets will be concrete, right? And so then the city can actually enforce that as a code. If they don't want to have that in the city limits, they can still enforce it in the county. So those adds, we can add those as part of that agreement. We don't have to strictly adopt the city code. We can adopt the city code with the following revisions.
So why don't we build that list and take it
That's what we're
to,
working
That's
on.
what we're
but
trying to get done. And I think my advice would be to, as quickly as possible, move back to a group meeting. Again, just if nothing else, like,
Yeah, like I said, it's been
been a while.
close to a year.
Been since 2011 since I've been here.
Since right after,
Well, since-
what's his name, Scott came.
Yeah.
So a couple.
Yeah.
6
And it was a
months.
good meeting, I mean, we actually sat down.
So we started with Aaron and then we
Yeah.
had to restart again and so. I was just bringing that up so we could try to get something going. Okay.
I mean, if it's me, I'm just saying, what do we want to give them to regulate? If we haven't given them that list, they're just gonna be like, if I'm over there, I'm like, what does the county want? I don't know.
We actually started out with a draft. Then they redrafted. Now we're
Is it? I mean, so it's a redraft basically of the contract we already have with the different options of what, and we're still gonna say the city's a primary inside the ETJ. This is my assumption, but we want to be part of the conversation.
Again, it depends on who's drafting, and that's why that's not, I think. At some point, at some point, we gotta get it back out of staff and back into that room, because we could do all the work in the world to draft something. But if that room doesn't want what we're drafting, then we're. So I think the joint committee, it would be a good.
You need a little.
That's
better
why we need to
inspection
get back on it so we can.
Stuff that they're doing a lot better, actually.
So I still don't know what's different than what they have now.
The inspection part, it sucks, Bill, with the city. I mean,
In the
go out there, Timberwine, and look at the roads on the right.
recent draft, they're talking about the
These signs are straight down.
the city's draft, they were talking about the city receiving the application.
Like,
And even brought up.
Receiving the
Yeah.
fee.
I'll bring it up.
Mhm.
I brought it up every time I talk to them.
We don't want to do it.
My response to that was, I don't know, that's a great idea, right? Cause
No.
we don't want to review to city of Huntsville standards, then we have to learn both codes.
Yeah.
Right? So it seems like that to me, I'm not the say so, you guys are the say so, but to me, it seems like a draft that you have to put that on one side of the fence or the other, and it can't be us reviewing to their standard, them reviewing to ours. But
Bring it, that's cool.
the middle ground,
You want-
adopt, you want the city to do the review, adopt city.
And done it.
And then if we want modifications, things that the city doesn't require that we want, then add those in as to our.
That's what I'm saying. Do we have that wish list already started? Have we sat down?
We have a wish list started based on what's in our code. right? So where our code calls for things that are more stringent, like for example, concrete streets. Right? We have a wish list started for that exhibit based on court's existing wishes reflected by the codes. If there's other things court as a whole wants in there, no, I don't have that.
I mean, to me, that would be the jumping off. I'd be the first thing I would come up with is, this is what you have, this is what we have. We want our little addendum either included in yours or at least know what we address and go from and do that. I mean, that's all we're gonna be able to do. That's pretty much it. As far as inspections, if we don't like their inspector, then we need to be complaining. And I saw Timberwhite, it just sucks up. But
It's bad.
and we had in there, the management at the time back then, I don't think they really gave a rat's butt, but I think.
Always been that way, but.
So, but we need to be more, I mean, I'm not in Timberwild, once a week looking at their stuff. And, if something's not right, you just call them. Tell them they need to come fix it. So,
You know how many times I sit down with their engineers over there?
oh yeah, oh,
It didn't work out.
yeah. So there should be a process for that. Like, hey, I saw the ditches in Timberwild on so-and-so day, they're terrible. What's our process to get that remedied? Y'all should have seen it. We saw it. So what's the process? Because like I say, the agreement itself is, it's simple. They do it, we do it, or we do a
They
joint.
could split that fee that they charge and then we could pay Blau to look at it. Cause they charge an enormous developer's fee.
So what I'm hearing is maybe put together a separate workshop for the court on this, that then the committee can use as a jumping off point to recall the meeting.
Well, I don't know if we can just sit up here and think of things. That's what I'm saying. I don't know, but other than streets being concrete and not asphalt, I don't know that many things that are different than we have from them.
I really don't want them to inspect it. They didn't even put metal in their own.
We talked about having
Yeah,
where y'all, in whatever precinct is part of the inspection.
yeah. And
So-
looking at the plans
Yeah.
before they're approved and there was lots of stuff that we talked about, especially through Andy's office, about not being involved in the loop as far as, just developers agreements that they do and then we're not even included in.
Yeah.
And then going back and the inspections on it, they are taking all the development fees on it and if they're not going to inspect it, then we need to know that. And I know it comes back to staffing. We talked about all that. Everybody's getting overrun. But the end product is we take whatever's left and either we accept it here in court or we don't.
Yeah.
Well, it's not good enough,
It's not working.
and it's never worked. That's why we went 8 or 9 years without accepting the road out there. And that's proof. So being more involved is the whole key to the whole thing as far
And I
as,
think Scott Swigert, I think he's pretty open to from the meetings I've had with him, the conversation, he's all about, hey, everybody be in the same room, monthly, quarterly, whatever. Let's talk about what's going on, projects coming up. And so far, that's what he struck me as being a little more open than Aaron and definitely more than what Benoit was. He the one here ahead of him?
yeah, Benoit.
Way more than
Yeah.
so he'd be something to kind of try him on that a little bit, if we have issues and,
That's when we had to
No,
start
that's
the meeting.
kind of where we're at.
yeah, I like. He's a good one to.
Add that to your 50 million things to do, Andy.
What else y'all got?
Well, that's a bad idea, though. Other than this, that's enough.
Not enough?
I just shut up.
All right.
Bill on door on our side.
Workshop date 11:06. Public comments, questions from media, Commissioners Court.
I survived the deer attack.
Yes, you did.
We want to thank everybody for the Halloween pumpkin carving contest and joining in. And congratulations to the winners.